Hello everybody. I'm gonna make 3 videos over the next 3 days. First one today, we'll talk about what's going on in the market. Is it a bear? Is it a bull? Is it a pig? Then we're gonna talk about, do a video on portfolio update, what my recommendations are for your crypto and regular overall portfolio. And then I'll make a video on stable coins in general, earning yield on stable coins. All right, so don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything. Okay, so first of all, what's going on in the market here? I mean, it's, so first of all, the market's going down, I think, for one of 2 reasons. And I don't know which one. One is, it could be just all this China kicking out Bitcoin from China. Now, in general, I think that's good news for Bitcoin and crypto in general in the long run, but in the short run, like, this is for real. There's been so many China's kicking out crypto announcements over the years, and it usually doesn't amount to anything. This time it's been pretty serious. They're literally, mining 50% of all Bitcoin mining was in China, and I haven't looked at the exact numbers, but it's leaving. So that's good for Bitcoin because that was a bit of a threat. China is, strategically, I don't think they're too smart with this move, because they had some leverage, and what they could have done with this situation is, stolen the mining, stolen some Bitcoin, put up a firewall so that Bitcoin's like sort of forced to fork. They could have done a lot of things to really fuck stuff up. And, Bitcoin mining financially, I understand why it's not in their interest, but still, that's a lot of business and a lot of money that they're just kicking out of the country to go to other countries. Thank you. So I don't think the way they've handled it is too smart on the Chinese standpoint, but whatever. I think that puts Bitcoin at less risk in the future. That was a vulnerability. China's ability to attack Bitcoin was a vulnerability for Bitcoin, and they're getting rid of that vulnerability. And I think that makes Bitcoin stronger, so that's good for the long run. Now, I'm not a Bitcoin bull. I'm not recommending buying Bitcoin. I did make that video a few weeks ago where I talked about, well, if we're going into a bear, and also I was thinking, maybe this is like September 2017, where Bitcoin rallied after the drop. Well, it doesn't look like September 2017, because in September 2017, we went down hard for like 30 days and it was back up to new highs. That ain't happening here, right? But still, Bitcoin, because it's the bigger, slightly less volatile of the volatile cryptos, is going down less than other things lately. Not by a ton, and if you really want to protect gains, you're better off going into stable coins. Anyways, if the reason for most of this drop in prices is due to Bitcoin or China attacking Bitcoin or kicking out Bitcoin, then the drop might be done soon, right? Because that's just not a long-term thing, and it's maybe good for Bitcoin in the long run. So that would make me think this drop doesn't last too long. Maybe we're almost done, and then, back to the races. However, I'm not convinced that's the deal. There may be a more serious situation going on, which I've talked about before, which is really unpredictable. Like most things, it's sort of predictable in the long run, but when you get into the short run, you have no clue what's going on. And that is the basic way our financial system works in general, and nowadays to an extreme, is the central bank prints money to prop up all these financial assets, which are all overvalued, right? I would say Ethereum is undervalued in the long run, but in general, they're pumping all this money into the financial system. And so by definition of the central bank's policy is to lower the base rate and interest rates in order to push people into riskier assets so that those prices would be higher. People talk about manipulation in crypto markets. The biggest manipulation of all is manipulating the base rate, interest rate for the whole economy in order to get people to take on more risk. And that's what's going on. So by definition, everything is at least somewhat overvalued. In some cases, it appears very overvalued. Now, so what happens is the central bank also, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They just print money. Like when March 2020 happened, they're like, okay, shit, we got to print some money here. Everything's going to collapse. Ponzi scheme's over. So they just printed way more than they needed, right? Now let's just throw in $4 trillion. That'll do it. It did it. And it does it until it doesn't do it anymore. And then they got to print more and throw it in. But they don't know when, and we don't know when. Nobody knows when the system runs out of money, when the Ponzi needs to be fed, and they need to print a few more trilski and throw it in there. So, are we reaching that point again right now where, you know, the central bank is still printing, but it's like a drug habit, right? You take some drugs, it's really fun at first, you know, and then you need more and then more and more and more. And eventually you just need that fucking drug just to wake up in the morning. So, although the central bank is printing, although money policy is loose, this is a drug-addicted system that needs constant uppers. So, it's possible we're seeing liquidity dry up, and I'm seeing symptoms of that. So, first of all, the furthest out on the risk curve is crypto, right? So, if U.S. Treasuries are the base riskless asset, and then you have, you know, maybe mortgage-backed securities, and then corporate bonds, and then stocks, you know, and then you got Bitcoin, and then you got shit coins on the far end. So what goes down first when liquidity dries up? Crypto. We're also seeing commodities sort of rolling over, right? You know, lumber was going straight up. Everything was going straight up. All of that stuff came down. Now, yes, I understand. Well, it went up a lot. Crypto went up a lot. We're just taking a pause here and going to go back up. A lot of people were all hopeful. Maybe, you know, yes, that's totally possible. It's also possible that this is the beginning of a bear market that won't end until the central bank throws in a few more trillion. Okay? And, you know, all of you prognosticators, anytime I get a comment under the video of like, this is what's happening, I'm like, do you really think you know what the fuck's happening? If you think you know what's happening, most likely you're wrong. Like, let me put that this way. Nobody knows what's happening, and we're sort of making guesses, and you make guesses with humility. If you're making a guess with confidence, odds are it's actually the opposite. In other words, the chances of being right, you could say, are 50-50 on it's going up or it's going down. But if you're really sure it's going up, it's better than 50-50 that it's going down. Okay? Check your hubris. And are you just talking your book? You think it's going up because you want it to go up. You want to feel good all day. So anyways, where was I? So we're seeing these things rolling over. We're seeing interest rates started to come down, seeing the yield curve sort of flatten. You know, yield curve flattening is another sign of tightening. And it takes a while. So where crypto gets hit first, commodities getting hit. If this is what's happening, what you're going to see in a month or two is all of a sudden stocks are going to start plummeting. The risk stocks, right? Tesla. I mean, I've sold most of my Tesla. Also, when I talk about, let me just, as a brief aside, I've said this before. When I talk about selling stuff, taxes are so important. I had a lot of Tesla in a SEP IRA, tax-free account. So yeah, I don't have to think twice. I sell it, it goes down a little, I made money. If you're in, and some of you are in Puerto Rico, great, no taxes, sell, buy and sell based on every day, doesn't matter. But if your tax rate is 20% or more or whatever, you got to think a lot about selling, because if your tax rate is 20%, that means it's got to fall by 20% for you to break even. And that assumes you're going to pick the bottom. Like, in other words, it falls by 20%. You're going to buy it right at the low, right at 20%, in which case you didn't make anything. So you're really wanting it to fall by 30%. And you're counting on the idea that you're going to actually buy it back when it's down 30%. And you've got that kind of timing. And then when it's down 30%, you're negative. You know, everybody's negative about it, and you're actually going to make that move. So for those of you who are long-term holders, that's cool. I always think you need to be a little careful when one thing becomes 80% of your portfolio. You know, if you've been holding Tesla and like, it's, you know, it's like 70% of your portfolio, the selling is not as much about you think it's going to go down or that it's going to go down and you're going to buy it back. It's sort of like, do you really want 70% of your life savings in something that has that much of a risk of moving that much? And there's a great saying I heard recently. You get rich by making concentrated bets. You stay rich by diversifying. So, and another Warren Buffett or Charlie Munger quote is, you know what find something that you really, really know, you really understand deeply, and then bet big, right? That's your concentrated bet. I've got a lot of money in Ethereum. And I'm holding a lot of money in Ethereum. That's my number one thing. Like, I studied it, I understand it, I believe in it. I don't worry when it goes down. That's my big bet. That's what can make me a lot of money. Then at some point, or like what happened. So with Tesla, that was a big bet, made a lot. Now I've just diversified it in a bunch of stuff that won't crash so I can stay rich. And why I'm not, way off topic here, but Tesla, I'm waiting for, like, when there's autonomous driving, I would look at it again. Until then, I'm just not that excited. It's not like Ethereum. Ethereum has a lot of new things. People don't understand it. It's undervalued, at least with people's mentality of understanding what it is and how valuable it is. And that usually translates into price. With Tesla, everybody gets it now, right? And if anything, it's overvalued because this autonomous driving, it's coming, but when? Okay, let's get back on track here. Where was I? So if we are in this sort of deflation is coming mode, like I said, all of a sudden stocks are going to start falling, and then it just, and then the question is, how quick is the central bank going to pull the trigger and how big? This is why, although it's simple to understand that, well, when there's not enough liquidity, everything goes down and then the central bank prints money and then you get back in. Oh, that's easy. Just watch that. Yeah, but you don't know when the liquidity's running out. And then what if it's falling and they're like, oh, it's fine. We're just going to throw in $1 trillion. We'll be fine. And $1 trillion wasn't enough. So it keeps going down and then they got to throw in another $2 trillion and it keeps going down. It's like, oh shit. And then they throw in 5 and now it's fine. So, and when that stuff starts falling, it can go real fast. So, it's not that easy. And that it is entirely possible that is where we're heading. And it's entirely possible that the central bank is slow to respond. Lately, they're not. They love printing, and everybody thinks there's no problems with printing, creating new money and giving it to rich people. Everybody thinks that's wonderful. So, we'll see. So anyways, I'm a little concerned. And for those of you, and by the way, too, if that was the high, Ethereum at 4,000, ETH, Bitcoin at 62, not only did the chart not look like it's supposed to look, right? How many of you, remember everybody loves to say, oh, I'm going to sell at the top, or I'm going to sell once we've hit the top. The reason why that is the stupidest comment is because, well, what if that was the high? What if we've been at a peak and now we're going to be in the doldrums here for 6 months or a year? Or even if it's 4 months. Oh, I'm going to sell when the bull's over. Well, we're already like more than 50% down and we still don't know if it's a bear market. So, you're going to sell right when you know the bear market started? You don't know. And you've already, it's already way down. You had months, and listen, maybe it's all going to be much higher in 3 weeks. Totally possible. I'm not saying that. But if not, when I was saying at, 3,000 and even high 2,000s and certainly at 4,000, if you're disciplined here, you're diversifying or, get it, starting to dollar cost average into dollars. And again, this all depends on your tax situation and your portfolio and how long you can hold and all that kind of stuff. But the idea of selling before the shit hits the fan for many reasons. And now let's look in hindsight and you can see, right? Although it looked like it was going higher. I mean, I had this just with my babysitter slash cleaning person, never wanted to buy when it was low. Then she got in and I remember, and it was at almost 4,000. It's just like, I should buy more. I was like, well, I feel like it's going to 10,000. Well, then I should buy more. Well, but why shouldn't I buy more if it's going to 10,000? And I said, because I might be wrong, right? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's not going to 10,000. Eventually, Ethereum's going to 10,000. I'm quite secure about that theory of mine. But I don't know. Maybe it's in 5 fucking years. So thank God she didn't buy more at 4,000, right? Okay. So you gotta always be. I'm even sometimes, and when I thought it was going to 10,000, I don't bet like it's going to 10,000. I'm always betting like this shit could fall by a lot tomorrow and it could go up by a lot tomorrow, and I'm happy no matter what. That's how you got to be. And you better be prepared for the idea that it's the bear market. It's fucking over, baby. And how do you feel? And, don't panic sell here. Listen, I love our Ethereum is looking great. A lot of good things happening here in the short run. Scaling, Uniswap launching on Optimism. This new Ethereum's doing a fork for burning on transaction fees, proof of stake. So many things are great. And the volume and the activity is great. The gas fees have come down. Everything's looking fabulous. So it's nice to have investments that you hold for the long term that you can be confident in. If nothing else, it's not, with Ethereum right now, the saying used to be with a lot of these things, it's either going to go to zero or it's going to make so much money, and it's an asymmetric bet, and, it's a binary bet. I don't think that's the case with Ethereum. Ethereum's not going to zero. I think our worst case scenario here is this thing sucks for a year or two, and then it goes to the moon. It's not going to zero. There's no way, okay? So it's a nice place to park money if you can be patient. And I think I sort of talked about this, how charts are stupid. And I get into it too with the pattern on the bull markets. And I guess, I don't know. It's just so stupid looking at charts. If you look at charts, throw them away, you're wasting your time. Trading and looking at charts is you pretending that you're working when you're actually making yourself lose money. And I've said this before, anybody who is a trader, and especially if you use charts, look a year or two ago at how big your portfolio was. Imagine you took all that money and put it into ETH at that time, at least a year ago. See how much ETH that was. Then look at how big your portfolio is now, and look at how big it would have been had you just held Ethereum the whole time. I guarantee you that had you just held Ethereum, it's 100% higher, double what you own now. And the reason I know that is because trading and looking at charts is stupid. And you tell all your friends, oh, look at how much money I made. My portfolio went up to here to here. But if you weren't such an idiot trader looking at charts and just held Ethereum, you'd be here. Now, you're smart by being in crypto. Good for you. But this trading chart nonsense, whatever. Go to a psychic and do horoscopes and, and if you want excitement, go skydiving or do drugs at a party. Okay? But don't fuck with your money with the stupid trading and charts. And also, dollar cost averaging into stable coins is something I've been saying for a while, or into just dollars when we were going straight up. Well, now maybe, you know, it depends on your cash situation. If you have no cash, you need cash. Okay, well, then maybe you need to sell. But my feeling is not the same now as it was when ETH was at 4,000 or even 3,000, right? So now it's down. What percent off its highs? I'm not running to cash or to stables now. In fact, I think the equation has flipped. Now I'm starting to think, hey, maybe now is the time to maybe some DeFis. Are we talking about that here? Yes, that is on my notes. Okay, so now you will remember, for those of you who've been following, where were we? Back in, I don't know, it was like in the fall, where I said, you know what? I'm not pulling out yet, right? We're still going up, but I thought, you know what, let's move away from the risk curve. All those DeFi tokens, I mean, there's also an issue of like, I don't know which one of these DeFi things is going to work or whatever. And I just consolidate from having all these saying, hey, let's own this DeFi and that DeFi and that DeFi. Fuck it, let's just put everything into Ethereum. Because, you know, moving away from the edge of that risk curve, and also just the unknown, it's a lot more risky in general, not just with prices and how the smaller, riskier things will go down more when things fall, but also it's harder to know what a winner's going to be, right? I mean, we've seen it with, like, I loved Kyber, and then where the hell happened to them, right? They got, and Ren, fucking love that thing. The volume is not going up. I just looked at the price. It's like 35 cents. I mean, you know, I remember when I was saying I'm done with Ren and it was at 50, 60 cents, and I was like, wow, looks like I'm getting out early, right? It went to well over $1. I don't know, maybe it was a little early, but it looks good now. So anyways, that was where I was going. Now I'm looking the other direction again. You know, now, so I'm starting to feel okay about Wi-Fi. I'm not that confident in it because it's a long story. I don't love the burning. I don't know how. I like Wi-Fi. I guess that's a topic for another thing. So I used to have or recommend a lot of DeFi tokens and mostly ETH. And then I said, fuck all these DeFis. Let's just consolidate into ETH and then start taking ETH and moving to stable coins and cash. Now we're going down. So now, okay, we're done with, hopefully you're done getting cash, right? Because now things are lower. So now you got all this. Now you got, if you're following this advice, you got a shitload of ETH. Well, now everything's down. Let's start going back out onto the risk curve. And I prefer doing it now because now I have more knowledge. The things I liked a year ago, now I may not like anymore. And things I liked a year ago and I still like, well, I have more confidence, right? So I like Wi-Fi, and you know I like Uni. Uni's holding its lead. Optimism is coming. And I am starting to get a new romance here with Luna. Terra Luna. And I know some of you on the channel have commented, what do you think about Luna? A long time ago. I'm like, I don't know. And I finally have looked into it, and it's been around. It looks somewhat tested. It just, when I talk about stable coins, I think I'll get into that. UST, I really like it. It looks pretty cool. Now, I need to get on this Luna platform and figure out how to do it all. I haven't gotten there yet. Not a super expert, but the Luna token, if you believe in the Terra Luna platform, Luna is the token that you hold that would you know, benefit from the whole platform working. And it's stable coin UST. You can lock into Anchor and earn 20% interest. It all looks pretty good to me so far. Now, you know, my method of study is I study something, see if I like it. I let it sit in my head for a little while. Then I study more and I like it. And then I get in a little bit and see if I still like it. And I keep studying. And then I get in more and more, you know, over time, right? So at the early stages, I could hit a wall and be like, oh, I don't like it. You know, Frax is another one I was liking, and I got in and testing it. And then I'm like, and I'll talk about that in my stablecoin video. But so far, Luna's looking good. Now, so Ethereum, one reason I love Ethereum is every time I dig deeper, and it's been like 4 years now, I like it more. Like, it just never disappoints me. And so now, after a long time, so in other words, I didn't like discover Ethereum 2017 and put all my money in it. No, it was this gradual and just been accumulating and accumulating over a long time. So I'm just starting with Terra Luna. And so I feel good right now. A little, I've been on 2 dates, a little exciting. But it's still early, so I may just flip. And for those of you who are like, oh, now Dave likes it, so I'm going to ape all the way in. Take it easy, I might change my mind. And you shouldn't just follow what I do. You need to have your own thoughts. Because if I change my mind, if you're just following me, great. But I might change my mind and I love something. You know what? Now I hate it. Get rid of all of it. And guess what? I'm not going to call you. I might not even make a video for a while because I'm busy with other things. And then by the time I make a video and I'm like, oh, I hate this thing, you should sell it. It's already down 20%. And you saw the video and now you're busy. And now you're following me, but you're a month behind at least. And it takes a while too. When I change my mind, keep in mind, I'm thinking about it for weeks, sometimes for a while. Then I decide. Then I act. Then I make a video. Then you see it. And then you think about it. And then you act. If you're just following me, you're way behind. You got to have your own framework. Or that should be your goal. Okay? So, I think that's it. That's it for now. All right? Thank you. Let me know your thoughts, comments below. Have diamond hands. Like my shirt. Love and kisses.